Coming to the first part of the question that you have asked, look, as far as Hamid Ansari and the Congress party are concerned, they were very conveniently only skirting around the first part that 2010 Nusrat Mirza was not invited. And very conveniently they had, in fact, put behind the wheel that 2009 also, there was an event by Jama Masjid United Forum in which they had shared the dais. And once these pictures got viral, once these pictures were out, in fact, the Congress party and Mr. Hamid Ansari were left with no other option. And that's the reason as to why they have retorted to just a single line denial. The second part is, just imagine what Mr. Agarwala says today. Mr. Agarwala says that Mr. Hamid Ansari, the then Vice President, in fact for the International Jurist Conference on Terrorism, wanted that Mr. Nusrat Mirza should again be invited to India and should be a participant in the conference, and to which in fact the communication was made to Mr. Agarwala, the organizer, through his OSD, Mr. Diwan, Ashok Diwan. Of course, this shows that there was some kind of connection between the Vice President and the concerned journalist, and this became a news, not because the Bharatiya Janata Party brought out the news. This became a news because the journalist in question, Mr. Mirza, he came out and accepted to the fact while he was being interviewed by a YouTuber that, look, I was invited by none other than the Vice President of India and I work for the ISI. I went to India, keeping all the rules aside. I should not have been allowed more than 2 or 3 times, but I went to 5 cities of India. The Vice President invited me and all these informations I passed on to the ISI. So just imagine a democratic country like India, Pakistan being its better knower as far as peace process is concerned. It wants to bleed India. When such an important disposition comes by a journalist who was participant in various programs in India, that too concerning the Vice President who has reigned the longest time in India as a Vice President for 10 long years, shouldn't this be a point of discussion? Of course this should be a point of discussion, and the onus squarely lies with the Vice President, the then Vice President, Mr. Hamid Ansari, to come clean on this. As far as the investigation and the second part of your question is concerned, well, Navika, I would say, look, this is the tactics of the Congress party. They would first tease you. Acha, agar humne galti kiya hai, to hame investigate karo na. And the moment the ED calls them, then the hell breaks loose. I mean, 21st we are investigating Sonia Gandhi. We, in the sense, the country is investigating Sonia Gandhi on the National Herald case. She has been summoned by the enforcement director. For all these years, the Congress party was teasing us. Bula ke dikhao.
Any charge against national security, ED can't investigate.
No, I gave you an example. I gave you an example of ED and Sonia Gandhi, that we were teased that even Sonia Gandhi is not being investigated. So as far as Hamid Ansari is concerned, categorically and very responsibly I will say, look, Vice President's post is a very important, coveted, revered post. These are serious allegations. Please don't think that these allegations are not under scrutiny. Of course, keeping in view the importance of the post, these scrutiny probably may not be in the public domain, but of course a lens would be cast.
Fair point.